Studio check.
Frequencies check.
We are live on air.
You are listening to the In Fact Blessing the Airwaves. Take the journey into the world of sports, news, entertainment, while embracing the hottest beats on the planet. Rocking the mind, body, and soul. With energy, electricity, and a splash of controversy. Now, without further ado, it's our pleasure to bring to you
The biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world.
the biggest show in the world, the SBTV Nation.
Days.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the SBTV Nation in the house. I am the Dream. I'm here with my boy, the Mad Hatter, and we have a lot to talk about in 2017.
Happy New Year, Dream. Happy New Year. Happy 2017 to you. How you feeling today, brother?
Oh, man, I'm off to a great start this morning. I'm feeling very well as 2017 looks very bright. It looks like we will be able to finish all of the 2016 woes financially, as the Miami Dolphins have been slated to go up against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the opening weekend of the wild card playoffs.
You really think so, huh? Well, you're going to have to lay 10 points to make some money there, brother.
Oh, don't worry, player, we laying.
You're going to lay the number with that three-headed monster of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who all sat yesterday and kind of watched the game and still won the game versus the Cleveland Browns.
Cleve. Can't say too much about them.
Exactly. Right on, Dream. So, good morning to everybody. Happy New Year to the entire SBTV Nation. We are rocking, we are live, and we are ready to roll here. And, Dream, I'm seeing a couple of things here. And what I did was, speaking of 2016,
yes,
I posted a little bit of a poll on Twitter, said, what was the worst loss of 2016, and I put the following choices: Hillary Clinton, Mariah Carey, The Ohio State University, or Ronda Rousey. In your opinion, what's the worst loss of 2016? Because I know you saw what happened to Mimi on New Year's Eve.
Which Ronda Rousey lost?
Yeah, good point.
That's actually two players.
Yeah. Good point. So you can put all those. You can put all those in the mix there.
I would have to go with, personally, I am going to go with Rhonda, but the Mariah Carey thing was a little bit on the hilarious side.
You saw it, right?
I did.
Oh, my God. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but you got to have to, search on the internet. You can find it, but she was lip singing. They weren't playing the vocals in her monitors, so she couldn't sing the tracks. She was basically just walking around New Year's Eve in front of millions of people with music playing in the background and not singing anything for like several minutes straight. And that was a complete debacle, Dream.
No doubt. Definitely a bad spot for her, bad look. But she's a phenomenal talent. Been around for a long, long time. Dude, trust me, before anybody says anything about her singing, she can probably out-sing 98% of the other female vocals out there, so don't even play her with that.
Oh, and she is still dope as hell, by the way.
Yeah, so we'll just back right off of her. That's why I didn't even go with her as the biggest loss.
Yeah, right.
She's always a winner looking like that. Plus, the pocketbook is dead right.
The pocketbook is dead right. And she's getting up there in age, Dream, but she is still insane.
And coming off the cusp of a divorce, which, by the way, thank you, everyone, for all their, what's the word I'm looking for?
Support?
All their support. But coming off the cusp of a divorce, it is now very, very, very crucial to me to meet ladies with their own money.
With their own money.
Meet a lady with their own money and their own job, and a lot of it, and hopefully even more than you or myself, is the move for 2017 and moving forward, because chicks with no money is not the move. Not that I would ever get married again. And I know they say never, but guess what? Just like I will bet against home team dogs on prime time, I am never getting married again.
You're never getting married again, Dream. I don't know. I beg to differ. I think you're one of them sentimental guys.
I'm a sentimental dude. I am a sentimental dude, and I love, like when I get with a girl, whatever, it's it's good. I'm still old fashioned, all that. But after going through this, because you just don't know, you think you know the person that you're with, but you don't really know that person till it pops in for a divorce. Because boy, they go for the juggler. And that's all I got to say. I'll be okay. I'm going to survive. But Mama showed me some tricks that I never, ever expected to see. Gang, as we go into 217, the NFL has shut down a couple of things.
Yes.
2 great spots they shut down as far as I'm concerned. The end of Rex Ryan at the helm in Buffalo. We know about that. We also now have the end of the Chipper. Chipper is gone, and he can head right on back to Oregon. And Chip Kelly, I'm sorry, I am not sad to see you go. The Niners fired not only Chip, but they fired the GM. They actually fired the GM on Saturday and then fired Chip yesterday after the game. And that, to me, is a big step in the right direction. Now, get rid of Colin Kaepernick. I would have fired Colin Kaepernick right with Chip Kelly.
I agree.
Matter of fact, I would have fired him at the national anthem. Right before the national anthem, I would walk down while he was on his knee, and I said, Kick rocks.
Very good point, Dream. And you know what? Chip Kelly won the first game and lost 15 games in a row.
Yes.
That is brutal. Especially when you win the first game. That's a tie for the worst record in football. And who has the number 1 draft pick, them or Cleve?
I believe that Cleveland has the number 1 draft pick, but I'm not sure because no. I actually think the Niners have the number 1 draft pick. You're right.
All right. Well,
because with Cleveland's win, it had them tied, and I believe the Niners now have the number 1 draft pick. It doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, the Niners right now, it's going to start with management. And Terrence Beck, I see you said you want Marvin Lewis or you want David Shaw. Okay, I do not want Marvin Lewis. Okay, I like Marvin Lewis, but not as a head coach for the Niners. David Shaw is probably a good look right now, coming in from college, a little energy, but my only problem is he doesn't have extensive NFL head coaching experience, so I'm a little bit shaky with him, but I don't really mind that look. The guy that I want, believe it or not, and a lot of people are probably not going to like this, I want Eric Mangini as a head coach for the Niners, and I know Mangini's had a few spots that he has not had a good coaching tenure. I think he needs one more chance. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but before Bill Belichick got to the Patriots, he was not successful. I think I've heard Mangini and seen a lot of Mangini's work outside this season. A lot of things that he talked about in the NFL as far as, teams with schemes, teams that do this, teams that do that. Mangini is one of the more intelligent minds in professional football. I'd love to have him as head coach of the Niners this coming up season.
But he has no passion, Dream. That's the challenge I have with him. He's never screaming. He's never aggravated. He's just got that same look on his face. I don't like that in football.
I don't like it either in football, but I'm telling you, this guy's football acumen, I think, is second to none. But maybe Bill Belichick. But I'm just telling you, that's why Belichick utilized him to his ultimate potential. Sure. This guy is just so brilliant. Belichick doesn't have a whole ton of emotion on the sideline either. They're always winning, so there's not really a reason to have a ton of emotion. But
you're absolutely right.
But I do think that this is because you need a special guy now to come in. You have to really basically gut this team and start all over from scratch. You need to have somebody that really knows what they're doing, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree with you. And you know what? I agree with you getting rid of Kaepernick as well.
Son, please get rid of Kaepernick.
Get rid of Kaepernick. Exactly. So
even though, as bad as Kaepernick is, they almost beat the Seattle Seahawks yesterday in game. Before you get mad excited about that Seattle Seahawks team in the playoffs, think about it.
I think you need to have a conversation with yourself about that. But, before we get into the NFL and the recap of it, I got to congratulate my man Rick Lopez for knocking me off my throne yesterday in Fantasy Football Dream. I had first place going into the Sunday night game, and my man had Aaron Rodgers and Mr. Devontae Adams, and ended up knocking me off my throne last night, Dream. Big ups to him. And big ups to him for having the Jets defense. I would have never seen that coming. But Tyrod Taylor wasn't in the game, so maybe I could understand it to a certain extent. But you see the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo
Bills, you know what? Let's go there. Good point. I'm glad you went right there. That's a terrible job by a professional football team. And that's a team that just gave up. Did you see the touchdown that they allowed because he wouldn't field the ball?
The kickoff?
Dude. Let me tell you something.
Oh, my God.
That's got to be.
That's Pee-wee football right there. You know that in Pee-wee football.
That's got to be one of the most embarrassing things that you can do as a professional athlete. And I'm telling you right now, if I was the owner of that team and had to write a check, you could forget it. I'd be screaming at that guy and telling him, you know what? I don't know what I got to do to make this contract right, but whatever I got to do here's it, and get out of here. Kick rocks. That's absolutely dreadful. And he's a special teams player, so his contract is probably controversial anyway, because special teams guys don't have quite the same contract as the stars in the NFL. So you don't be surprised if you don't see him ever again.
Got it. All right, Dream. And you know what? Looking at it here, that's like you said, football 101.
They just gave up, man. They just gave up. Right? Yeah. My thing is, the Jets gave up this season as well, but they just gave up in this game. It was very, very, very apparent that they didn't care, didn't want to be out there. I saw a lack of hustle, a lack of intensity. It was just a dreadful performance by a team on their last game.
You know what? I'm looking at this. I didn't realize that the 49ers had 2 wins, Dream.
Yes, they did. They won the first, you did. They won the first game of the season, and then they won last week.
They did win last week. You're right. I totally missed that. So Cleveland does have the first round pick. Thank you, Rainmaker, for pointing that out to me. I appreciate that very much. I stand corrected. Dream, let's talk about a couple of situations that went down yesterday.
Yes.
First things first.
Yes.
Biggest upset of the day had to be the freaking Washington Redskins, who are in a must-win situation to get in the playoffs.
Open the morning up with Kiss.
Let the New York Football Giants come into their house. It didn't even give max effort and still beat you in your own house. What a disgraceful loss that is.
Open the morning up with Kiss. Kiss, I've been a Kiss and Cuz advocate for most of the season. I heard last night Rodney Harrison talk about it and say that it's not to put on his shoulders and not his blame. Sorry, I got to blame Kiss a little bit, though. Got to blame Kiss a little bit for his first half performance, which was absolutely dreadful. Washington Redskins' defensive performance for most of the season has been absolutely dreadful. It goes back to me as far as that game against Carolina, which they absolutely blew. This team, I don't know what's wrong with this team. Offensively, you can't ask for more talent. Garcon, Crowder, Jackson, Reed,
everybody.
Kiss, able to throw the ball. They got a lot of weapons. And at times, they fired off and looked like a well-oiled machine. This was part of the mystery of the NFL this year. And they were like the biggest X-Factor mystery team that you just could not figure out week in and week out. Redskins, that's an awful job. I don't know if you move forward. I know that they don't want to sign Kiss. I don't know if I blame him for not wanting to sign him. The only thing I will tell him is he is going to play in the NFL, though. Yeah, so my thing is, and I don't know who you're going to get that's better.
Right on. Well, you know what? The Denver Broncos might want to take a look at him.
Well, if they let him go, and the Broncos, to me, Tony Romo is the guy the Broncos need to definitely. If the Broncos want to win right now, today, this next season, they need to go get Tony Romo, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I don't know if Romo wants to go there, but I talked about Arizona being the best spot for Romo because of Arizona's weather.
Yeah.
Carson Palmer, though, is saying that he's staying another year. He's coming back already. That's what they're saying out of Arizona. So it looks like there's not going to be a spot in Arizona for Tony. Tony, if he goes to the Broncos, if the Broncos are able to add a little bit of an addition to that offensive line to keep him from getting banged up, it's probably the second best spot for him. And you're talking about, we're talking about a successful, possibly successful season right out of the gate as far as if everybody can stay healthy.
Well, you got a couple of teams that I want to talk about. First things first, the Dallas Cowboys. My big play of the day was the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
And you know what? The line actually jumped up to 6.5 before the kickoff. Dream, you know what? I was just reading all this stuff, and I was seeing it on, on the pregame shows and all that Dallas was going to basically be sitting everybody. So, you know those Week 17 matchups where you kind of key in on those?
Right.
And that's all well and good. And I made a little bit of money with that, but I had a really nice parlay, and I added the Miami Dolphins plus 10.5 to it. And I'm so mad at myself for that.
Oh, especially when I was on the show on Saturday and said
so mad.
Said that the Patriots was the biggest play of the day. It was thank God that play saved me because I played around with a couple of games. Kissing Cuz ruined what could have been an epic day for a comeback going into the playoffs. But I was all over the Patriots. I don't know how you, well, I do know how you did that because you're a homer guy like the rest of our fan base who thinks your team is better than it is.
Interdivision matchup. New England Patriots hadn't won there since 2012.
So?
Matt Moore, the team's been pretty damn hot. But this New England Patriots team, guys, I got to be honest with you, I don't know. I have watched NFL football every single week, hours and hours, just like probably most of you out in their country. This New England Patriots team is a problem. Dream, they're good.
No doubt they're good. And I've been talking about, who's been screaming about the New England Patriots?
I mean, the push. I mean, listen, the Dolphin defense statistically has not been that good this year. I mean, you look at all the talent, they're just not putting it together. But, I mean, they did win 9 out of 11 games or whatever. But
booty ones.
I called them as a 10-6 team, Dream. I'm the only one in the country that did that. But anyway.
And I called if they went to the wild card, they were going to get blown out, and I'm going against them, and I am. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers on Saturday.
All right. But the push of the offensive line with the New England Patriots and the fact that they are really protecting Tom Brady back there. Tom Brady's got all the time in the world, number one. Number two, his touchdown to turnover or touchdown to interception ratio is a record now. I believe he's like 27-2, something like that, touchdowns, interceptions, which is exceptional. This team, and defensively, they've stepped up. I think this is probably one of the best Patriots team I've seen in even in the championship years, Dream.
One of the best teams I've seen. However, the one thing I am worried about with the New England Patriots, there's only one team, as far as I'm concerned, that challenges them. And Dallas Cowboy fans, it's not you. There's only one team that I think challenges the New England Patriots, and that would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only thing about the Steelers is I don't like how their defense performs in certain spots. If Pittsburgh is smart and prudent, and I know they don't have the greatest relationship with Baltimore, but I believe that they should go back and look at Patriot-Baltimore games, playoff games, and look at what the Baltimore Ravens were able to do. Now, I know Baltimore had a lot more talent than the Steelers have right now as far as their defenses, but to still run some of the same schemes and steal some of the same ideas that the Baltimore Ravens have used, because the Baltimore Ravens are one of the few teams, along with the Denver Broncos, that successful against the Patriots in the playoffs. I think the Steelers are going to have to adapt some type of defensive scheme similar to those used in order to combat this Patriot offense. Now, on the flip side of that, the Steelers offense, when running, can run anybody out the building.
Of course.
I'm sorry. And Le'Veon Bell, we know about Le'Veon Bell, Brown. I mean, they can throw the ball, they can run the ball. They've got all the weapons in place. So there's not a lot to say about their offense not being up to the challenge. It's their defense that you have to worry about. And I think that is the only team, in my opinion, that could stymie the New England Patriots. And the other issue that we have with the Patriots is the Patriots haven't really had a real crappy game.
No. I mean,
they
the only
haven't
two
really
losses.
had a real So if you come in and you have that off day by the luck of the draw, then the Steelers may be able to sneak them. So that's where I'm going to go at as far as that. That's just a little preview to the our playoff shows. But that's where I'm at as far as when the Steelers should and if meet the New England Patriots.
Right on, Dream. And I know that you're not really feeling this team, but Kansas City Chiefs now have a first-round bye.
Yes.
And now they've got to basically, the only game they would have to go on the road is the New England Patriots.
Sure.
So, you know what? That might be a team that can get to the AFC Championship game as well.
I don't believe the Chiefs have enough offense to beat the Patriots.
No.
Their defense at times plays well, but then at times does not either. You gave up 27 to the Chargers yesterday. So their defense is it's a bizarre defense. Some of this team I like. We know about Andy Reid's track record in the playoffs, not that incredible. I would expect that they would win their first game, the Chiefs do, but if the Chiefs have to go on the road to play the Patriots, they're not there for me. To me, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the only team that can challenge the Patriots in the AFC.
Well, another one of my big plays yesterday came to form, and that was the Denver Broncos, Dream.
Sure.
Oakland Raiders, I think they're done.
Oakland Raiders, man, bad story for them. I feel really bad that they lost their quarterback, their star quarterback. The future looks very bleak for them, but they're playing a team going through the same thing.
Yeah, right. I mean,
they got the same issues.
Yeah, they got to go into Houston and play the Houston Texans, but Dream, I think Houston defensively will do enough to beat the Raiders in Houston, and then they'll get smoked in the second round. But
I do too, but it's funny because last night on the NFL America show, Dungy said that they think that the Raiders will beat the Texans because their defense is going to step up and they're going to be able to run the ball. I don't see it. I'm going to go over, obviously, there's a week worth of studying to be done, going over some numbers, taking a look at a few things. I don't see the same kind of success out of the Raiders defensively.
No.
It may be slightly possible, but I'm with you. Texans in their own building, a little bit tough, and I think one of the two quarterbacks will find enough offense to probably win this game.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Raiders hat,
yes.
Aqib Talib yesterday snatched the chain of Michael Crabtree off, kind of like I want to snatch your fantasy football record.
Where'd you finish yesterday, by the way?
I finished. Stop it.
Where did you finish,
11.
Dream? 11.
It was 11.
Oh.
I
No wonder why you're salty, man. You
Well,
finished in the bottom half.
I'm good. That's good. I'm
Oh,
all right.
God, it's good. 11th out of 20, kid?
Listen, this is my second fantasy football game.
Son, come on.
It's my Stop it.
Well, anyway, snatch the chain off. Go ahead.
Snatch the chain off him. You didn't see it?
No, I didn't see that.
It's all over Twitter. I'll have to tag you, and it's all over Twitter. Talib walks up to him and just snatches his chain off. I thought it was hilarious. Talib, a thuggish type of guy that I usually don't like those type of personalities. Don't ask me what it is about him, though. There's something about this kid that I like. And usually that type of individual I just don't like. But there's something about this guy that I like. I'm not gonna celebrate that particular maneuver. The only thing I am gonna say, why the hell would you have your chain on out there anyway? But whatever.
I always wonder that about athletes because they all seem to wear them. You know, earrings and chains and stuff like that. I mean, and you know the stuff they're wearing isn't cheap.
No, hell no.
You know what I'm saying? So whatever. It is what it is. And just keeping it moving here, Dream. The Green Bay Packers, Sunday Night Football, get the job done versus the Detroit Lions. And I literally watched football from 12:30 in the pre-games up until about 7:30 when the final games ended, and I drank all day. And you know what? I just ended up falling asleep for this game. So didn't watch it, but you said it was a good game.
Giant fans, I know you're ready to talk about your defense, especially what they did against the Redskins. I know you're ready to talk about the year you won, you were a wild card, and you could go on the road and you could beat anybody. You should be very, very nervous right now. Okay. Because I like the Giants, and I've talked about the Giants being the most complete team in the NFC on both sides of the ball because I like their defense better than I like Dallas's defense. That being said, if you go into Lambeau and you turn the ball over like Eli's capable of doing, you will lose this game. This is a very, very scary game. I haven't picked a side yet which way I'm going, but Green Bay has so much momentum right now.
I agree.
Going into this game at home and them getting at home for this game, another great additive for them, even better to be as comfortable in the comforts of their own home. And now, New York, you're looking at a couple of games that you should be kicking yourself because you could have been the 2 and now you're not.
Yep.
This is going to be a really tough game for the Giants, and I haven't made my decision yet. I'm not going to say 100%. Yeah, I'm going to go with Green Bay. But the one thing I do want to say, gang, you know I'm a big fan of patting myself on the back. Mid-season, when we talked about Green Bay having issues and what was wrong with them, Pat, did I not tell you that the tight end position was a problem?
You did.
And sure enough, as if anybody watched the game last night, that's what they talked about. And even Aaron Rodgers talked about the emergence of Cook has really helped them on their role move forward. So I got to pat myself on the back because I spotted that. And I knew that was one of their problems. Well, and they seem to have it shored up a bit. So.
Well, I thought the running game needed a little bit of work. And sure enough, they've definitely flourished in that situation as well, Dream. So, you know what? Do you have any other NFL before I move on?
As far as the rest of the NFL, I just want to discuss one more time the Seattle Seahawks beating the San Francisco 49ers by 2 points, giving 12.
I know.
Gang, Seattle is not a good team. The defense is overrated, and the offense is, I can't say the offense is anything because I don't think the offense is even rated. They still have an awful offensive line. Playing Detroit, do not sleep. The Detroit Lions are capable of beating the Seahawks. I don't think that they will. Another playoff preview, but the Detroit Lions are capable of being a Seahawk team.
Yeah, man. You know what? They did struggle in that game. I mean, they had a pretty big lead. You know, I think it was, 19-14 at the half. But they scored nothing in the second half. 6 points. I don't know. They're painful to watch at times offensively. Really bad. The thing that keeps them in the games is defense and how hard they hit. They hit you. I mean, you could hear that every time they're tackling. I mean, it's loud as hell, man. So, you know what? Hey, they got a home game, at least one home game. So we'll see how it ends up shaking out in the NFC playoffs. Moving on. So, Dream, I'm ready to talk collegiate football.
Collegiate football is going down tonight.
Before we do that, let's talk about the amazing games that were on New Year's Eve in the college football playoff, as Alabama Crimson Tide roll and beat up on Washington. Washington scored that first touchdown and then couldn't do anything after.
Y'all want to tell me about the line movement, the big sharp guy playing the Washington that I heard all about?
Right on.
Remember that?
Yes.
You know, some sharp laid down millions of dollars on Washington, and I guess he's out of business right now.
And you know what's crazy? What's up with all these coaches picking their nose and eating it on the camera, man?
Who else did this?
Sarkisian in the booth. They flashed the camera up on Sarkisian saying he's going to be the new offensive coordinator. Exactly at that time, my man sticks his pinky in his nose, looks around, makes sure nobody's looking, and eats the boogers, kid.
Ew, disgusting. Wow.
Everybody was murdering him on Twitter.
Well, that's because he didn't have a scotch and soda. He was waiting for one of those.
Maybe that's something to combat the alcoholism. You know, instead he's pounding boogers. But anyways, so nasty. But anyway, Alabama gets it done, and they are the favorite to beat the team that is going to rematch them this year, and that is the Clemson Tigers, Dream, 31-0 over the Ohio State University.
Ohio State, dude, that was like one of the more, I never seen any, well, I mean, you kind of saw it with Washington too, except at least Washington looked a little teeny bit better than Ohio State. Ohio State, my God.
Wow.
What,
do anything.
Clemson's good, but come on, they're not that good.
They're
not that good.
Defensively,
they haven't been all season good.
They haven't. I don't know, but they stepped up, Dream.
They stepped up big time. I don't know what happened to Ohio State. I expected Ohio State to do better than that. I did not. I mean, I didn't love the game, you know, but I thought Ohio State probably would find a way to win. I gave Urban Meyer a little bit too much credit as coach. It's funny because I usually think he's overrated, but I gave him a little bit too much credit. Now, see, the thing, though, with me, though, is I don't think we got real looks at both teams. So now, going forward and looking at this national title game, I know everybody and their mother is loving Clemson.
They love Clemson.
They love Clemson. People love Clemson. I'm hearing all kinds of Clemson rhetoric because Alabama offensively stunk.
Yes.
Alabama did nothing offensively in that game. They stunk. They won that game off their defense and awful, terrible, just safe play calling and running the ball. That's what they did. Alabama offensively did absolutely nothing to win that game. So now people are saying, Clemson is going to be able to score on Bama's defense, and Bama's not going to be able to execute offensively against Clemson. That's all the rhetoric I've heard over the last few days. A lot of people seem to be on the Clemson bandwagon. But my thing is I don't think you saw a pure look at these teams really, because I really haven't seen Alabama's offense look that bad this season. Yep. It was bad.
It was. All right. Well, you know what? I just think that the front four of Alabama,
right?
I mean, they are ferocious, Dream.
Okay.
And, I mean, they are clearly better than the Ohio State University. This is going to be an ugly game, I think. I just don't know. I mean, Clemson may be able, you might be right, though. They might be able to, maybe kind of start moving the ball in the second half and squeak out a victory here. But
Deshaun Watson's legs is the X factor as far as I'm concerned, with him being able to get maybe to the edge or get around the corner and, do something to stifle a pass rush. Because if Alabama's front four cannot get penetration and cannot contain, that's going to require them to bring some more guys up, and it's going to require them also to use a linebacker to spy. Then that's going to open up some stuff downfield. So it's going to be an interesting chess match as how they're going to play this game. I'm curious if Alabama's front four are going to be able to have some success against the offensive line of Clemson. That's probably the main storyline of that game.
Can I hear you say that the committee got it right when they did not put Louisville in? Alabama would have beat Louisville by 50, Dream.
Well, Louisville. We knew Louisville had issues, after their first loss. And then when they lost to Houston, I was done with them. I don't know what you talk about a collapse.
Yeah.
That team, I don't know what happened to that team.
Brutal way to lose, and LSU just had their way with them.
And now a lot of people don't like that he's the Heisman Trophy winner. And, I understand the argument, but I think he did enough to still win the Heisman Trophy compared to everybody else that was out there involved. But like you said, the Heisman Trophy candidate or winner should be nominated after the national title game and after the championship. Because if Deshaun Watson does go out there and beat Alabama in convincing fashion, then I do think Deshaun Watson should have gotten it.
I agree with you 100%. And on top of it, a conference champion as well.
Definitely.
So I think you need to have everything, the playoffs, the national championship, everything, and then pick the Heisman afterwards.
Agreed.
Because if you have if you have a standout like Lamar Jackson, for instance, and he has a good game, you still want to have that race going a little bit with Watson, just to give him a little added incentive. Obviously, biggest incentive in the world is a national championship, but to have that still going on, I think would make the game just a little bit more interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So anyway, let's move on and let's talk about college football and the games that we have today, which start at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Dream, first game I'm going to talk about is your team, the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Biscuit Bowl. Love
it. In the Outback Bowl versus Florida. Florida minus 3 points with an over of 40.5 points. Got a couple of decent defenses here. What's your thoughts?
This game should be a sleeper. So if you were up late last night watching the NFL game, be very careful. Drink a cup of coffee before you get into this, as you will probably fall asleep in this particular matchup.
All right.
I don't have a side here. I've liked Florida for most of the season defensively. Mm-hmm. Offensively, absolutely dreadful. I'm gonna lean Iowa.
You're gonna lean Iowa.
Gun to my head, I gotta take Iowa. I'm not playing this game, no.
Well, neither team dazzle you offensively at all. Florida
at all.
is number 116th ranked in all of collegiate football, and Iowa is 120th ranked, Dream. Right. Defensively, you've got Florida giving up 298 yards defensively per game, which makes them number 6. and Iowa at 352, which makes them number 25. The thing is for Florida is that their secondary does not let up a lot of passing touchdowns. Less than one per game, Dream. Makes them number 1 in all of college football as far as their secondary giving up touchdowns. So looking at it, I think you're going to see a low-scoring affair here. That's why it's 40.5.
Definitely.
You know, so we'll see what ends up going down with that game. I don't know if I'm going to bet this game or not. I mean, I still have some work I have to do today, but...
And who are you leaning?
Just the lack of offense of Florida.
Yep.
I
kind of got to go with Iowa. I know, right there.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you on that side. Yep. But I think it's going to... Dream, this is a coin flip.
It is
this
a
is
coin
like
flip.
Betting black or red at the casino.
It is like betting black or red at the casino. In fact, that's almost apropos as the colors are very similar.
Yeah, very good point, man. I don't know. You know
Iowa being black, Florida being red.
If anything, I'd probably consider betting an under in this game.
Okay.
But you know what? Hey, we'll keep it moving and we'll go from there. I mean, Florida is the favorite, -3. This is going to be a nasty game. I feel it. I really feel it. But let's move over to Western Michigan versus Wisconsin. Western Michigan undefeated on the year versus number 8 Wisconsin. Wisconsin's -10 with an under over of 52. Dream, you got a chance to look at Western Michigan in the Ohio game, and I don't think you were that impressed.
Not impressed at all. And this game just reminds me a little bit of Washington, Alabama, and to the extent of you're talking about a team in Western Michigan that plays against teams in your conference that are not on the same level as the Wisconsin team. And you're talking about a defense in Wisconsin that Western Michigan is probably going to have fits trying to figure out. This Wisconsin team defensively is like nothing Western Michigan has seen most of this season. I think they're going to come in and be very surprised that they're not going to have success doing what they've been getting away with doing all season long. And Wisconsin is going to just dominate this game on the defensive side, run the ball down their throat on the offensive side, play ground and pound, stop everything they're doing, and I got Wisconsin winning this game. And I probably have Wisconsin winning by the 9. However, I'm going to tease it or moneyline parlay with another game. But I think Wisconsin wins, and I also think they'll cover their spread.
Well, you got a couple of teams here that are very, very good at controlling the clock and keeping the ball for a long time. Wisconsin is number 1 in all of college football, 35.21 minutes per game they're holding on to the ball, Dream. That makes them number 1. And I think that, clearly you have a superior conference. I mean, when you look at Western Michigan's strength of schedule, they're ranked 114 in all of college football. So they're not really playing very strong teams at all, where Wisconsin, they're number 15 here. I think Wisconsin's just too big, too strong, going to dominate the line of scrimmage. The thing is that if Western Michigan can hang in this game and, get a couple of broken plays for touchdowns or, move the ball up and down maybe through the air, I think this will be a ball game. I've been high on Western Michigan all year. I've loved them, absolutely. And I am going to bet them plus the points. I'm going to do it just because I have a little bit of loyalty to this team. Well,
we'll get them work points with them because I think if you get 7 more, you may be okay. If you could get this up, a little bit more, I think you're going to be, if you could get it if you could get it to 3 touchdowns, I think you're going to probably be golden because I don't think Wisconsin will beat them by 3 touchdowns. I doubt it. Zach Terrell, the thing about him, I will give you, he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Now, I know they haven't played defenses quite like Wisconsin, but having only 3 interceptions on the season, that's impressive. I don't care who you played against.
Yeah.
Tip balls, anything can happen to make an interception go down. So when you talk about that still is an impressive stat. So at least he's very, very accurate and he makes very sound decisions, which is going to be prudent for them in this particular matchup. While I think Wisconsin's defense is going to be the X factor here and definitely get this game, take over this game, Western Michigan may have a little bit of success in some areas, so I don't hate you taking Western Michigan with the points. I don't. And that's another reason why I say I'm going to play this game, but I am going to get rid of Wisconsin's points.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if I lose the bet, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm just looking at it here, and I think that, one of the strengths of Western Michigan is their third down completion percentage. I mean, they are basically about 55% as far as converting third downs. So, you know what? I think they'll be able to hang with this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Wisconsin wins and wins handily, but you know what? I just got to take a shot. It's just a little of an impulse decision.
My issue, too, with the game, Western Michigan's defense allows 353 yards.
Yeah.
You know, and Wisconsin is not really a juggernaut offensively, but you want to allow 353 yards. They're going to rush the ball. They're going to have some success rushing the ball.
And you know, I could see it unfolding. I could see the push in the line. I could see the defensive line for Western Michigan getting pushed back. You know, a lot of like what I saw with the New England Patriots and Miami Dolphins yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So I see it. I'm just going to take a shot with the points. I'm going to do it. And congratulations once again to Rick Lopez. You are the champion of fantasy football. Congratulations on knocking off your boy last night. But
Thank
you know what?
Rick Lopez, for doing us all a big favor as we don't have to hear about Hat. Like I said again, he won't get another win. What's it? I think you get a 4-year window.
Shut up.
When did UConn win the national title?
Don't worry.
5 years ago, because my son, it was the night my son was born. So there's a 5-year window before Hat wins anything significant again.
It was my pleasure just stepping on you being number 11 in fantasy football, Dream. That's all I got to say about that. All right. So let's move on to a couple of more games here. We've got the battle of the two hottest teams in college football right now. You got USC with Darno at the helm as far as quarterback position, who have been absolutely outstanding, versus Penn State. USC is -8 with an under over of 59 points. Dream, I think that's a lot of points.
I think it's kind of a lot of points too, but USC is coming in a game with a lot of momentum. You know, Penn State as well. So we can't take nothing away from Penn State. They've got a lot of momentum as well. But USC to me, I mean, they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, right.
They came out of nowhere. And now they got to be a little bit mad saying, hey, you know what? We should have been playing against Bama instead of Washington.
Well, you know what? Once they made the quarterback change, I mean, they've won like, I want to say it was like 8 or 9 in a row, something crazy. And they've won their games convincingly and handily.
Very convincingly. They're getting it done on the offensive side. Total offense, 468 yards of offense. They are giving up 359 yards of defense, but the defense is still bend but don't break as far as I'm concerned, because it's, you know, they've been able to stymie some good teams.
Yep. Exactly.
Punched a few teams in the mouth. USC has been able to do. You know, Notre Dame. Even though I'm not going to go crazy with Notre Dame's offense, but UCLA, they shut Washington down. You know, only 13 points with Washington, only allowing 20 from Oregon. That's kind of impressive on the defensive end still. So now here we go. Pac-12, Big Ten.
Yes.
Youth, I know you lean Big Ten as far as being a tougher conference, as well as I do.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Okay. But I still don't believe in Penn State.
Okay.
Do you?
Oh, man, it's tough. It's tough because I've been very successful with them actually this year. I've taken them in several spots and won. But, you know, the thing is that I think this game should be a 3 line. I don't think it should be 8. I really don't. Because USC is like, you know, a lot of people are saying that if they made the quarterback change at the beginning of the year, that they would be in the running for a college football playoff selection. And, you know, winners of the pack and all that. I almost want to take Penn State plus the point stream. I'm looking at an underdog day today for your boy.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. So, you know what? I just don't think that USC should be given that many points to Penn State. The line has been going all over the place. I've saw 6s, I've saw 9s, and it's around 8 right now.
Okay.
It's really interesting, you know? But that's where I'm looking at, Dream, as far as that's concerned. Both of these teams are just red hot.
They're red hot. And I also do think, though, I think the layoff affects USC a little bit more than it affects Penn State.
Sure.
And what Penn State tries to do. That being said,
none of these teams dazzle you with any statistics at all. If you look at all the rankings going up and down, I mean, I'm looking at hundreds of them, guys. And, you very rarely see either one of these teams in the top 10 at any of these stats.
Well, Shaquan Barkley dazzles me. 247 carries, 1,300 yards, and 16 touchdowns is dazzling player. So I'm a little bit dazzled.
It's about 100 yards a game.
I'm a little bit dazzled with that. A little bit. I mean, because USC probably hasn't seen an offensive line quite like Penn State. So I'm thinking that Penn State is going to have the ability to run the ball is what I'm getting at. And you know how I feel about any team with the ability to run the ball that gives them just that extra edge as far as that is concerned. Now, I do think USC will be able to make some adjustments to stymie that. So the chess match is going to be relative. I do think you're absolutely on the right side by going with the points. If I was you, I would just tease this with Michigan because I think that's excellent with the points. You add more points onto both games, I think you're right there. In this particular matchup, though, I'm going to tease USC down, and I'm going to put them with Wisconsin.
You're taking USC today?
I'm going to take USC with Wisconsin because Rick Lopez beat you in the daily fantasy thing last night, and Rick Lopez is a West Coaster, and he told me that he saw a couple of the Penn State faithful headed to the bar last night. So hopefully they got a little tore up and won't be ready for the game.
All right, man. All right, so let's talk about the last game on the ticket here before we close out, and that is Auburn. The Tigers are a 2.5-point underdog versus the Oklahoma Sooners. Dream 64.5 is a total here in this game, and I know you're a pretty big fan of Oklahoma. Talk to me.
I am a big fan of Oklahoma. I'm a big fan of how they came on at the end of the season, and once again, you're talking about a team with a lot of momentum going into this game. Baker Mayfield has absolutely turned the season around as far as he's concerned. I've been very impressed with his ability to scramble, keep his eyes downfield, make downfield connections, and then scramble for first downs when need be. I can't talk enough about it. I think he's been excellent. Started off very shaky, but they changed it around. Hats off to the coaching staff. I have talked about this coaching staff not being good. That being said, this is a big game, and their coaching staff has the ability to blow big games historically.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
The other issue is we've had a little bit of some side action with Oklahoma in regards to Mr. Mixon's off-the-field incident.
Yeah.
That came out in the press. We've had to throw some attention on that when we should have been concentrating on football. That hasn't been the greatest look and hasn't maintained all of your concentration on football activities as they should be in this particular matchup. Auburn, good in the middle of the season. Towards the end of the season, something happened with Auburn, and it started breaking down. The loss against Georgia, to me, is bothersome.
Sure. Barely
beating Vandy kind of started the stomach ache, which I was really shocked with.
Yep.
Then you lose to Georgia, which to me is very troublesome. And then, of course, you lose to Alabama, but Alabama is Alabama. That being said, I'm leaning Oklahoma.
Yeah, you know what? I just think they're going to have a lot of success moving the ball on that defense. I think it's going to take a little while. But I think eventually, I think Baker Mayfield and company will get it done. And
game's going to be tight.
Enough points
take a little while, and I agree with your hat. Baker Mayfield and company gets it done. If you're playing the 3, get it to 2.5. If you want to put it in a teaser, get Oklahoma with some points. I don't think you can go wrong. I think you could tease this game either way, and it wins Oklahoma or Auburn. I think it'll probably be a close matchup with one of the teams winning by no more than 3 points to 7.
Total offense, Oklahoma's number 2, 557 yards per game, Dream.
I know, but that's a lot of Mayfield scrambling, and that's a lot of like that. What Green Bay does almost with Aaron Rodgers, the scramble drill, and getting things done down the field. So, because plays have broken down. So keep that in mind, because while that's awesome that you're able to make that adjustment, the defenses now are practicing to stymie that, or to stop that, I should say. Yep. So keep that in mind with this particular game, as Auburn should be prepared for Oklahoma's scrambling type offense.
And what they're going to try to do is basically ground and pound and try to keep Oklahoma's offense off the field. You already know that.
Definitely.
So, all right. So that's going to do it for collegiate football, man. I like the 2 dogs today. I like Penn State, and I like Western Michigan. And that's where I'm going to go, guys. So, and what are you on?
If I had to go 2 dogs, I would tease Penn State and Auburn if I was going to go 2 dogs. That's where I would go. I think Auburn has a better chance than Western Michigan as far as a teaser situation is concerned. Me personally, I'm going to go Wisconsin and USC. Okay. 2-team teaser. Get Wisconsin down to 2 and get USC down to a pick. I'll just use the 7-point one, even though that 2 points has punched me in the face a couple of times. I may just go ahead and moneyline parlay the 2. Yeah, that's where I'm going to go, gang. Moneyline parlay in Wisconsin and USC.
All right, sounds good, Dream. So what else you got? You got any NHL or NBA?
I do have one NHL game. Guys, we murdered on Saturday. The Washington Capitals murdered the New Jersey Devils. I hope you guys got down with that. I spotted at the very end of the show and went absolutely berserk on that play. I hope you got down to it. I hope you can hear the enthusiasm in my voice as I cut Hat off right in the middle of his breakdown or his closing to let you guys get on it, because that was an exciting spot for me, and they went ham on him. Now, in come the Boston Bruins. It's a 7 o'clock start. And guys, get the times of your games right this evening, because there's all kinds of different times. We didn't run over the times with the college ones, but I'm sure you guys will get the times and have them right. However, Bruins are playing the Devils at 7 o'clock. I love the Bruins to beat the Devils tonight. Bruins are, I believe they're 15-4 on the road. So let me just make sure that statistic's right. Hold on a second. Give me a chance to look at that. I want to look at that for you before I say it. And then the cats are like, Dream, you don't know what you're talking about.
While you're looking that up, the worst loss of 2016 so far in the lead is Hillary Clinton with 51% of the votes. Ohio State is 23%, Mariah Carey 13%, and Ronda Rousey 14%, Dream.
Yeah, it's a real salty with that. Listen, I can't tell you enough, and I'm sorry. The Boston Bruins 11-6 on the road. That's their road record, 11-6. That being said, I still like them because New Jersey Devils home record 9-4, 9-4, and the Devils are a bad team. I think Boston will come in and out physical them, and I like Boston to beat them. And I don't usually like to mess with teams on the road, but this Devils team is bad. Now, one more thing with this Hillary thing. Look, I voted for her too. I had my own kind of reasons. I was more of, I felt like a woman should get the opportunity to be a president. That's what I felt like, okay? And whatever. I don't care what you guys think. The best person, whatever. Who knows who the best person is? I don't think either one of those candidates are all that awesome anyway. But the thing is, now that it's done and over with, I don't care what anybody says. The timing of that email thing coming back up in the face of us when it did in October, that murdered her. That was a bad look. Whoever decided to do that at that time murdered her, because we kind of had gotten away from that. We kind of forgot about that. The timing of that, I swear, swayed a lot of last-minute votes over to Donald Trump. And I don't have an issue with it, because you know what I feel too? Where there's smoke, there's fire. And that little email thing would not go away. Something was not right.
Right on. And you know what? Hey, listen, Trump had the same thing, too, with the recorded conversation about grabbing the women.
Okay. We know Trump's grabbed some women and done some things. I know Trump's done that.
Right on. So they both had some serious adversity thrown at them.
I know Trump did women work. Come on, stop it. We all know Trump did all kinds of stuff. I'm not questioning that, because we knew that. But the fact that the Clintons, I think you worried about their transparency is a great word. The word that we love to use here at Twitter, especially when cappers are involved. But I think their transparency came into question as this email story would not go away. That being said, we are getting off the political bandwagon because it's done. Donald's got the office now. Now we sit back, scrutinize every move he makes as we did Obama, and complain.
Right on, Dream. All right, man. So what do you got to do to close out of here?
Fast Eddie 72, Terrence Mack, Rick Lopez, congratulations, and thank you so much for beating Hat. Joseph Del Rosario, LVCC's in the house, Vegas Girl 92661, It Be Easy, Marlon the Incredible Marley Mar, Cash Action Bets is out there, Wooch GG is in the house doing it, Jim Roman's a douche, want to thank him as well, Sin City Maverick, thank him, hope your health is well, brother, Happy New Year to you, Jonesy, De Niro, Joseph Del Rosario, G Rose, Shy Picks, Tiger Clinch, Scott Weaver, Killer Cam 505, KMBU, Sir Mata, Direct Sports Solutions, Swing Cat Side, Irvin, Average Joe Punter, Jeff Ryan, Nick Orestes, JDH24, OJFB, Taylor Stevens, Jay Snyder, Winning Picks, Wayne Yarborough, Jay Gotts, Almighty Kev. Want to wish you all a very, very happy new year, and moving forward, let's make 2017 the best ever. Guy, no one is happier than me to see 2016 gone, as it was the absolute worst year of my life, and I am hoping to change the game, turn my whole life around in 2017, starting with the biggest wager of the season. I am loading up right now. I'm getting money. I'm looking through the kids' piggy banks right now. I'm looking at all kinds of places I can find money to get the Pittsburgh Steelers total annihilation.
Oh, man.
Of Miami Dolphins.
Well, before you do that, why don't you find out who the evil genius is on? just in case, Dream. Oh, guys. All right. Happy New Year to everybody. It is 2017. It's the first day, literally, of the new year as far as I'm concerned. And I'm sure most of you guys feel the same way. Some of you guys have the day off today, whatever you get in your new year started tomorrow. But listen, go out there and conquer the world. You could do anything you want in life. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't. Go out there, rise and grind, and get that money. Let's go.